This is Chit and Chat, the encouraging one another podcast. Interviewing musicians, comedians, sports personalities, and many, many other individuals all over the world, sharing their story of encouragement, inspiration, what they've been through, what they've gone through, as well as amazing musicians from all over the world. Kick back and relax. For some amazing people you probably have never heard of and their story. Each of us have a story of hope, of courageousness, of inspiration. This is Chit and Chat, the encouraging one-on-one podcast. It's always about encouraging others. This song is by Lady Miranda, and it's called Game of Love. And hop on the podcast pretty soon. She's a musician from Seattle area, and her website is theonlyladymiranda.com. This is Game of Love. Lady Miranda, Game of Love. Hello, and welcome to Chit Chat, the encouraging one other podcast. I'm so glad you're back for another fun, exciting, and encouraging podcast. I love meeting people, hearing their story, sharing music by artists from all over the world. In the background, you're hearing a song by Michael Powers, artist here in the Seattle area. It's not jazz, I just like some jazz music. Welcome. Today, my guest is a Lone Star lady through and through. See, she was born and raised in Texas, but now resides in South Carolina. She wears many hats. She is the first independent artist to place 5 songs in the top 50 with Riverhead Radio. Besides being a Nashville recording artist and singer-songwriter, she hosts 2 shows, Outlaw and Lace and Soapbox Chronicles, just to name a few. And her music can be heard over 6,000 syndicated stations all over the globe, including Belgium, Holland, Italy, UK, and Austria, just to name a few. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Chit and Chat Encouraging One on the Podcast, Miss Laurie Lace. Hello there.
Hey, Jody, how are you?
Good yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm not real computer savvy, so it always takes me a minute to figure out what the heck I'm doing.
It's no problem. Well, happy to have you on the Chit Chat Encouraging One Other podcast and hearing about your story and your music.
Well, thanks for having me.
Well, you're welcome. Before we dive into some fun conversations, I love kind of tossing some icebreaker questions at my guests, kind of get the wheels churning. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
The first one is, you had a shirt, you made your own shirt with one word on it to kind of describe yourself. What word would that be?
Ooh, one word on a shirt to describe myself. Shoot. I would have to say spontaneous.
Spontaneous. So why is that?
Yes. Well, I've been told a lot, especially from my manager, that I can roll very quickly. When things change, I can change with it, and I don't really give it. I don't hesitate. It's kind of like, hey, we need you over here, and we need the Kitty Wells Laurie, and I'm like, okay. And then, hey, we need you over here, and we need the Rockin' Laurie, okay.
Gotcha.
I can change at the blink of a hat. I don't fret over that.
That's very gifted.
I try. Well, you have to. You have to nowadays, because you got to give them what they want, and sometimes they want something different.
Question number 2: what are a few guilty pleasures you have, like food shows or true crime shows or shopping? What's a guilty pleasure?
Well, if you were to ask my husband, it would be sitcoms.
Okay.
I don't know. I think I have to think a lot. I have to, we're always constantly just using our brains all the time. And I love to just sit and turn on the TV, and I can watch any sitcom. It doesn't matter. It could be MASH, The Nanny, Friends, Sheldon. It doesn't matter. If it's a sitcom, I can sit through it. And my husband it drives him bonkers, because he loves to watch. He's one of those, he wants to watch like the nature show, like, and in Africa today, the rhinos are drinking. And I'm just going, oh my God, what are we watching? And he's like, it's educational, You
can do some very good narration. That was putting me to sleep. That was very good.
But that's how it is, and I'm just like, all of a sudden my eyes just kind of glaze over, and he'll just turn it on something stupid and go, I don't know why you like this stuff.
We need laughter. We need funny stuff.
Yeah, it's because it's a no-brainer situation. I don't have to think. I just have to laugh. You know, and I'm like, you don't find this funny? He's like, no, not at all.
Number three, in your opinion, what vegetable is best with cheese?
Ooh, what vegetable is best with cheese? Oh,
My family loves broccoli and cheese, so that's our family one. We love broccoli and cheese.
I see. I don't picture. I don't like broccoli and cheese, so I don't really picture cheese with anything. Everything that comes to mind is not a vegetable. You know,
Okay.
I'm like pepperoni, pizza. No, that's not a vegetable. That's got bread. Um, so tomato. I
Okay.
guess because I like pizza and the tomato sauce, and
Okay.
that's my best answer.
All right, that works. What's a holiday tradition you really, really, really enjoy?
That every Christmas we have a real Christmas tree. I
Mm.
don't I don't do fake Christmas trees. They don't smell. They don't. It doesn't smell like Christmas to me. And I grew up always having a real Christmas tree.
Mm.
And so that's the only thing when it comes to a holiday. I can roll with everything, but when it comes to Christmas and we're going to get a tree, I'm not going to get a plastic one.
Do you,
Not
do
going to
you,
do it.
do you cheat and go to a tree farm, or do you go out in the woods yourself and find it yourself?
I've done both. When we lived in Colorado, and I shouldn't even be telling this. When we lived in Colorado, we lived up in the mountains, and as driving into town was about 16, 17 miles, we went through a lot of different people's pastures. The roads had easements through there, the
Yep.
county roads, and we were guilty of going, hey, that's a good tree, and grabbing the chainsaw and stopping and running over there and threw it in the back of the truck and drive away and go, anybody see? Anybody see? They're like, no. So, yeah, I shouldn't tell that story. But there was thousands of them. So the chances of them finding one tree missing
Missing.
was,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
they,
slim to none.
yes, very slim to none. I'm pretty sure nobody was going to put out a wanted ad. Hey, somebody stole my tree.
Missing tree in the woods.
Yeah, missing tree out of 500.
It
But
was
that, yeah.
6 feet tall, 4 foot wide.
Hey, I am all about saving $1, and it was either go to Walmart and spend $70, or hey, this cute little tree just popped up overnight. Let's just chop it down and keep going.
Last question is, what bucket list do you want to check off in the next, say, 6 months? Item be a
Ooh,
place you want to sing at, or a venue?
in 6 months, I want to play Billy Bob's.
Billy Bob's.
Billy Bob's in Texas. It's the largest honky tonk pretty much in the state. Everybody that's anybody plays there, and I had my opportunity about 3 weeks ago, and it fell through. And I told myself, I'm going to play there. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get in somehow. It's real hard. It's the kind of venue. It's not really who you know or what you know or how good you are. It's who you know.
Okay.
And so we had a slight opportunity, and then it's like the rug got yanked out from underneath me. So that would be on my bucket list. Other than that, it's not a place, it's more of a thing, is to get over my fear of flying.
Mm.
I have flown, but I'm not a good flyer. I cry, I panic, I hyperventilate. I have to take like anxiety medicine just to get me on the plane. It's horrible, absolutely horrible, and it really hinders me because I've got friends overseas in Germany that are like, if you just get over here, you can stay with us, and we'll take you all over the place, and you can see this. My son, who's in the military, he's constantly somewhere. Like right now, he's in India.
Oh,
He's
wow.
he's gonna be there for a year, and he's like, Mom, you need to come. And I'm like, well, it's on the America not to fly list there, so I'm good. So yeah, that's how I got out of that one.
My brother
So
and his wife, the group, just climbed Kilimanjaro about a week ago.
really,
Yes. They live in Colorado. He bleeds the mountains, and so yeah, that was
well,
fun to watch.
it's funny. I mean, I'm not a huge daredevil because you know, when you put my husband and I together, it's like we have the worst luck ever. Before him, everything I touched kind of was like golden. If I wanted to do something, I worked hard enough, I could make it happen. After him, it's just like everything just falls apart. And he's like, when we were in Colorado, he's like, let's go snowboarding and let's take this. He wanted to take a tour where they take you through the mountains in the snow on these snowmobiles. And I was like, no, because with our luck, we would be the ones on the news going, well, this fluke avalanche happened and killed these people, and he was like, that's never going to happen. I'm like, we walk outside and a bird poops on our head. I'm not going through those snowy mountains with you. I'm not.
Why watch a comedy? You live a comedy, it sounds like.
Well, it's we've had some some stories. I'll tell you. I could write a book. I really could.
Hey, there you go.
We could do a very long show. Let's just put it that way.
I'll keep that in the back of my brain for next time.
keep it into the back of your brain, and I will give you this little tidbit, but I won't give you anything else.
Okay.
I have been kicked out of the country. That's all I'm going to say. That is all I'm going to say. Yeah.
I'll keep that. I'm making some notes for that one for sure. I do have Texas listeners, so maybe Billy Bob's and someone who has connections. You never know. So let's get you down to Billy Bob's one day and sing it off your bucket list.
That would be great.
So those are the questions that were not too bad, were they?
Oh, no, not at all.
So throughout our time today, I look forward to hearing about your story a little bit. Would you mind sharing a little brief bio on who you are and kind of where you're born and raised, stuff like that?
Sure. I was born in Dallas, but I actually was raised in a small town outside of Dallas, about 23 miles east, called Rockwall. I lived there all my life. I did spend my summers out in West Texas, though, and that's kind of where the country girl in me comes out, because my mother had, from her family, she had, for lack of better words, a ranch. And so I would spend my summers there, and there was no TV. So that was very foreign for children who were used to, Sunday morning cartoons and, things like that, to as soon as the school year ended, the very next day, my mother and all of my sisters and myself, we got in the vehicle and we drove to West Texas, and we'd spend the entire summer there. Of course, that's where, it's like there's no TV. What do you do? First couple of days is usually a shock, and then you adapt. And so I would spend my summers actually horseback riding. I would work when they would let me. The guys that worked the land, my mom would lease it out to a neighboring rancher, and they were very sweet. They'd always give us a couple horses to ride for the summer, and we would help them bring in the sheep and the goats, and help them when they needed to tag ears and cut tails and shear and all that stuff. So that's kind of how I spent my summers. I didn't get into music until I was in the middle, I call it middle school, so like 6th, 7th grade. I was in gymnastics, and I tried out for the gymnastics team, and I didn't get in. I was really upset. I was pretty pissed off. So I thought, well, I'll just pick the only thing available, and it happened to be choir. And before I realized it, I was getting a lot of the leads. So, and it just kind of went from there. And I didn't go directly to college right after high school. I should have. I wish I had, but I didn't. And I kind of did the school of hard knocks. I left music behind. I had a very large lead in a play there in Dallas. I played Annie, believe it or not, in Little Orphan Annie. Yeah, I played Annie. They put a red wig on me and everything. And it did a lot. I mean, it was a lot of fun. But I was really young, and I was very nervous. And the very last finale, I skipped a whole section of a song, and I just went blank. Got scared. I went blank. And I remember looking over at the director, and she was crying. And I thought to myself, I just ruined this entire play for everybody. I just ruined it. And I said, you know what, this isn't worth it. And I just walked away from it. And I got into law enforcement, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And I started working at a jail in West Texas. And then I put myself through the police academy. And I was a deputy sheriff for years with Tom Green County. And then I moved over with Concho County. And, and then I got back into music just by accident, to be honest. There was an elderly man in the town that I worked in as a cop. And, I knew he played guitar, but that was really about it. And I would ask him all the time, hey, can you teach me how to play guitar? And he would tell me, honey, I would love to, but when you've played with the people I've played with, I just can't. I just can't, And I was like, okay. He was really into his animals, and one of them died. And I sent him a card. I thought it would help. And he calls me up and said, hey, I got your card. And I was like, oh, good. I'm sorry about your dog. And he said, if you still want those guitar lessons, I'll give them to you. And I was like,
Oh, wow.
yes. I was like, yeah, I would. So he was like, well, come on over. And he was probably 60 something, maybe 70. And he was like, well, show me what you know. And so I showed him, and he was like, stop. Who taught you that dribble? And I was like, I don't know. I just learned it, And he was like, well, stop it. It's hurting me. So he started teaching me. And as he was teaching me stuff, he would say, well, sing along. I paid no attention to what I was doing when it came to the singing. I was focusing on the guitar. And then he calls me one day and he says, what are you doing? And I was like, nothing. He said, well, because I got a hold of my brother in Nashville. And I was like, okay. I didn't know who his brother was. And he said, he told me if there was ever somebody I wanted to hear, that he would listen. He said, so he's going to call you this week. And I was like, what am I supposed to? I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do? And he goes, just do what he says. I was like, okay. So gentleman named Kurt Ryle calls, and he sounded upset. He was like, yeah, I'm Kurt. Yeah, my brother. Yeah, he called me and said he's calling in a 30-year-old favor that I said 30 years ago. So, yeah, he really did. He sounded perturbed. He was like, I'm going to send you a plane ticket. You're going to come to Nashville, and pretty much I'm going to let you cut a song, and and I'll say thanks. It was great. I'm going to send you home. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, nice to meet you. And so he sent me the plane ticket, and I went to Nashville, and he picked me up, and I cut a song. His sister was there, mainly because I was a girl and staying in his house. He's really great about letting his artists stay in his house.
Mm-hmm.
And, he has a spare room, and of course it's his house. I mean, his wife, his kid, everybody lives there, but the studio is down below. And so he had his sister there, and she was that night was saying, yeah, let's go into Nashville, and I'm going to take you here and here and here and here and here. And I was like, okay, sounds good. And Kurt walks in, and he's like, no, you're not going. And I was like, well, why not? And he said, you have a photo shoot tomorrow. And I was like, what do you mean I got a photo shoot tomorrow? And he goes, yeah. He goes, we're going to be cutting an entire album. He goes, and you're going to need photos.
Wow.
And I was like, so I'm not going home tomorrow? And he was like, surprisingly, no. I was like, okay. And, he wound up doing my first 3 CDs. And, I mean, really, it's kind of went from there. I enjoy singing it, and hopefully the people that listen enjoy it. I'm not perfect, but I do my best to put out music that people enjoy.
All because of a 30-year-old favor someone owed somebody. That's hilarious.
Yes, that is the entire story in a small little nutshell. That it all fell on, I call him Mr. Black, but his name was Jimmy Black. He called in a 30-year-old favor that was told to him 30 years ago, and then of course Jimmy, I find out later, played with Dolly Parton and all these greats, and that was why he didn't want to teach me anything. And and he still follows me till this day. Every once in a while he'll make a little comment like, hey, good job, girl, and things like that. And so Kurt's done for the most part all my music. I've branched out a little bit here and there, and I'm going to be branching out a little more, but he's a wonderful guy.
That's awesome. Did you receive other encouragement along the way throughout your music career in your early stages? Positivity and people who inspired you.
Well, people that inspired me without knowing it would be, everybody wants to say the greats. They want to go Tanya Tucker, Lori Morgan, and they, to me, it was more hair metal, hair bands. That was always my passion, and somehow it got off onto country. But and that's the funny thing about me, because people go, "Are you serious? You're talking country now, and all of a sudden you're on to Guns N' Roses." Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, Whitesnake, Poison, all those were a huge inspiration to me. Those were the music that really lit my fire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and really, and I didn't have any encouragement with my family, none whatsoever.
Wow.
At all. At all. It was more like, yeah, they still to this day. I can call one of them up when I'm doing, a radio show, and they have no idea they're even live on the air. And if I've got a segment called "What is Karen Doing?" Karen is actually my sister's name, and I'll call her up and we'll have a 5-minute conversation before she realizes she's on the air. I'm like, if you followed me, you would know when I was, and you wouldn't pick up, But yeah, my family was kind of snooty, and to them it was, "What are you doing?" That's fun, but what are you going to really do?
Right.
And I'm like, well, I'm really trying to make music work. Well, that's good for a weekend thing, but what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm playing music. They don't get it. So it's kind of like being the black sheep.
You now reside in the great state of South Carolina. Never been there before. Can you share with our listeners what's it like in your neck of the woods?
I love South Carolina. I do. Now, we've moved around a lot, mainly because my husband, he loves to move, and I'm tired of it. I'll be honest. I love South Carolina. I do. We live in Myrtle Beach. It is a tourist town, so it's a little more expensive. So you have to, when you live here, you got to really pay attention, or you pay way too much for stuff. But I love the palm trees, the weather. It's to me, I grew up in Texas, so when it's hot, it's not really hot to me, and people are going, "Oh my God, I can't, it's 85 degrees. I can't handle this." And I'm going, "Really? I'm not hot at all." And it never really gets too cold. When we first got here, it was maybe in the 40s and 50s, and people were walking around in parkas. And I'm going, okay, that's a little over the top here, but that's okay. But no, it's beautiful. It's green. It rains when the weatherman says it's going to rain, it's going to rain. If it says there's going to be a hurricane, there's a hurricane. In Texas, it's different. When they go, "Oh, it's going to rain," maybe, So maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I've noticed here, if they say this is what the weather's going to do, that is exactly what the weather's going to do. And I wouldn't. Now that I'm not used to. I'm used to. I remember listening to the radio one day in West Texas, and it FM radio, and the guy comes on and he goes, he goes, "I don't know how hot it is." No, he goes, "I don't know the temperature, but it is hot." I was like, and there's our weatherman, everybody. But and the people here are very sweet. But you do have a lot of out of towners. And that can really jam up your restaurants. During the summer, you can't go anywhere without a 2-hour wait. All the restaurants, and I'm telling on them, I don't care. They have summer menus and they have winter menus. And around the end of April, they all bring out their summer menus, and everything that you used to buy that was $10 is now like $17.50.
Oof.
So the summer, all summer long, the people don't normally poke their heads out. Musician wise, it's really hard to put a band together. I have been trying. I can't find anybody. The musicians that the musicians that I have met, they're like it seems like every couple of weeks I'll see their Facebook and they're looking for another bass player, or they're looking for another guitarist. Myself and my husband, we have been trying since we got here to put a band together, and there seems to be musicians everywhere and yet nowhere. And it's like, so we put ads out and we'll get somebody from like Charleston, and I'm like, yeah, you're like an hour and a half away. And I'm the kind of person that I don't wing anything. I want to put a band together, and then we practice and we get tight and we get spot on, and then we go out and we kill it. And from what I can tell here, people are like, yeah, send me the set and then I'll meet you at the venue. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do
not how it works.
Yeah, that is not how it works. I am not doing that, because that's my name up there, not your name. That's my name, and, and so, and they absolutely love here their, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? It's completely lost my mind. Um, they're bands they're cover bands. There we go. Cover bands. They love them. I've been to one. I saw a Journey cover band, and the guy did a really great job. The whole band did. They dressed the part, they sounded the part, they packed the place, and you would have thought they were Journey. People were going nuts, you know. And it's the House of Blues that usually has them, and it's a great venue. It's like, no, it doesn't matter where you sit or stand, you're practically on top of the stage, but they're smart about it because they don't sell. They give free tickets all around town, so as people go into stores, they go, oh, hey, free concert, yeah, and they show up, and then of course everybody buys their drinks the whole time they're there. So it's a fun time that you didn't have to pay for. And so they pack the house, and then of course everybody buys beer and has a great time. But they almost every other weekend, as I'm driving around, I see on the marquees there's another cover band. I laughed and told my husband, that's what I need to do. I need to be a cover band for Miranda Lambert, and I would be playing everywhere. But yeah, they totally, here in Myrtle Beach, they absolutely love their cover bands. So, and
I was reading your bio, and I saw you're the first independent artist to place 5 songs in top 50 of the top 50 country blast radio. What's that mean?
Yes. Oh, I was honored. It's hard to go. Is that really me? Well, because you don't look at yourself that way.
Right.
I was very honored and very humbled at the same time, and it's a lot of pressure, if you want to know the truth. Because if one song does good, they expect the next one to do even better, and then so on and so on. So I remember thinking, I had 5 songs for Country Blast Radio, and now what do I do? Now where do I go? So you just do your best. But I was shocked and I was honored, and they were so good to me. They were so good to me. Radio has been very, very good to me, and I couldn't, if I never get played again, I can honestly say that I have been places and done things and met people that some people will never be able to do, and for that I'm grateful.
On this podcast today, at the end of the interview, I'm playing one of your songs called "Bad Thing." That's a fun video. I love that video. That was really cool.
You? Well, there's some funny things around that video. Of course, the mobster guy, that's my husband.
Okay.
And he did a great job. The female that's playing the bodyguard, the guy that was supposed to play that part backed out at the last minute. She's my hairdresser.
That's awesome.
She was totally my hairdresser. I called her up and I was like, hey, you still got that black hair and that red streak in it? Because she was constantly changing it. And she was like, yes. And I'm like, I need you in my video. And she was like, do I have to talk? And I said, no. I said, all I need you to do is stand there, hold a gun, and look angry. And she's like, oh, I can do that.
That's no problem.
Yeah, no problem at all. So she played that part. We are actually in a Myrtle Beach warehouse that is full of nothing but candy. And they put me in an area that looks like all those big bundles that look like giant bundles of either marijuana or like the old cocaine bundles that you see that would wash up on the beaches of Florida. Those are full of candy.
So
Skittles
cool.
and Skittles and Sprees and Now or Laters and things like that, Jawbreakers and bubble gum. They're just full of candy, and we spent most of the night shooting. And the guy that actually owned the warehouse, he was very sweet. He was like, I'll just hang out, and then when y'all are done, I'll lock up. And I said, you can watch, whatever. He completely stayed out of the way, and he thought, this is so cool to watch. And when we got to the part, I told my husband, I said, I'm flipping the table. I said, I only have one chance. This is a one take shot. I said, I'm flipping it. I'm really going to flip it. I said, so you need to keep your glasses on your head, you know, because I didn't want to break his glasses at the same time, you know. So, so we got to we filmed the whole video, and then we got to that part. That was like the last thing that we did because we were gonna, you know, I didn't want to have to put it all back together, and so you know, I grabbed the money to make my run for it because that was the whole thing. I was, you know, I was out of money. I needed money, and I was trying to win at this poker. This was a heavy stakes poker game just for me. And I brought my money. He brought his cash. And of course, I'm losing, and I'm losing big, you know. And as he's laughing and pointing, what he's saying is my money, my money. Mm-hmm. Even though you can't hear him, that's what he's saying. He's saying my money. And of course, the camera's not on me, but I'm going, no, it's going to be my money. I'm taking this money. And he's going, my money. And then I grab the money and I flip the table. And you can't really tell, but his eyes got really big because it almost went up over him. And of course, and then he goes, I can't believe you flipped the table like that. I said, I told you I was going to flip this table. I was really going to flip it. It had to be realistic. I'm flipping the table. He's like, well, you flipped it all right. You know? And so it was a lot of fun doing that song. But the most interesting thing about that song is nobody knows who wrote it. Mm. No one. It was sent to me through Kurt Ryle. And I said, I love it. I want to do it. And he was like, great. And he doesn't remember who wrote it. And it was never written down. It was just in his catalog. Just the words and the melody. That was it. So it's registered into BMI as artist unknown because I don't know who wrote it. You know, I if somebody is out there listening and you think you wrote that song and you can show concrete proof that you are the writer, I will be glad to redo the BMI and put your name in there. But as of right now, there is no writer getting any kind of credit for that song. So yeah, no one knows.
You got to write a book. This is pretty cool. I mean, you're a police officer. This song story. This is really your tree story. This is awesome.
Oh, it's not all of it's awesome, but yeah, I could write a book. It's I've had some interesting situations. So.
I saw as a nickname for your music. Some call it Red Dirt. Some call it Americana. Can you share with us what your style is?
I don't know, to be honest, what my style is. I prefer the more modern country, and I think that's kind of the rocker in me coming out. But I have a lot of songs that I've done in the past that are, as my management team calls them, Kitty Wells. He's like, that's Kitty Wells stuff, you know? And I'm like, yeah, but it was a great song, and I liked it. I have another song that hasn't been released just yet. It's called The Rooster Crows at Dawn, and it's a very interesting song. And I don't want to say too much about it because it's not just out. It's not out yet, but Pierce Media calls it my yodeling song. He's like that. He's like that yodel, and I'm like, why do you call it that? I don't yodel. And he goes, I don't know. That's just what I think of, you know. So it's a slow ballad. It's a good song. So yeah. So I got that one that's coming out. But I believe the next song coming out is actually called A Sure Thing, and it was written by Todd Walls. He is out in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And he got in touch with me. I didn't even know who he was, and he was like, "I wrote a song, and I want you to sing it. I think you do a great job." And it's right in my wheelhouse. It's got a good fast beat, and I think it's going to be the only reason I haven't really had a chance to put it out yet is because I'm still working on what type of video to do because it's going to follow Bad Thing, and that was such a fun video. Bad Thing was such a fun video. So yeah, ain't no sure thing. And he was right. He said, I can't give this to some 15-year-old girl. He said, she just can't pull it off. He said, it needs a more mature voice. And it's pretty much just about a woman that has been constantly trying to pick the right guy, and it never works. And just because you got a ring doesn't make it a sure thing.
Your music's been heard all around the world on Amazon, Spotify, in countries like Belgium and Holland and Austria.
Yes.
What's that like when you're hearing music? It's all over the world. How cool is that?
It's very cool. It is. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you and say, oh, well, no, it's cool. It's cool. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel like, what you're doing is at least getting appreciated, and to me, that's important. It's not so much, does everybody know who you are? Yeah, that would be great. Does everybody buy your music? Yeah, that would be great. But it's when when it gets appreciated. I had a person come up to me, and this was a couple of years ago, and they were like, I heard this one particular song of yours, and it just brought me to tears. I didn't, I wouldn't have known that, and I thought to myself, I'm glad. That made me feel good that you were moved by my music. Um, yeah, it's pretty cool. It really is. I had some friends call me the other day from Colorado, and they were like, "Hey, superstar," and I was like, "Yeah, whatever." And they're like, "No, I'm serious. We just heard your song here on the FM dial." And I said, "Really?" And they go, "Yeah." They go, "And we were also doing something at some store there." They said they were playing country music, and your song came on. Makes me feel good. I'm not going to lie. It makes me feel really, really good. Just when you get to that point where you go, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Something like that happens, and you just get recharged all over
You also host a few shows. Can you share about that as well, like Soapbox Chronicles and a couple others as well?
again. Yeah. Well, I do on Friday nights with Cat Country. We do Outlaw and Lace, which I do with Dan Dennis, and that is a lot of fun. We have been doing that show for years. Comes on every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. It runs for 2 hours, and it airs on Cat Country Radio 99.5 there in Virginia. And they also just bought a radio station in Canada. So it's actually, if you download the app is in Mexico, the U.S., Canada, Australia, over in somewhere in Europe. I can't remember. If I say it, I could be wrong, so I don't want to say it. Um, and believe it or not, in Japan, there was a high muckety muck. I don't know who he is. No one told me. Who happened to be driving through and heard Outlaw and Lace, thought it was the funniest show ever. He gets back to Japan and figures out he can't get it. So he paid to have the entire station air over there just so he could listen to the Outlaw and Lace show. So, it's a lot of fun. So we have that one. I have been doing what's called Laurie's Picks on Saturday nights, but now they're revamping that now that they're opening up the other station. I don't know where that's going to wind up landing time frame wise. And pretty much what it is just it's not the top 40. It's exactly what it sounds, Laurie's Picks. And if somebody sends me a song, which they often do, and I like it, I play it.
Pretty simple.
you know, yeah, very simple. I don't have to worry about, oh, it needs to be on the top 40 countdown, or, it has to be this, that, and the other. It's Laurie's Picks. I can play whatever I want.
There you go.
And it's very liberating, and so I constantly have people that are sending us their songs, and if it's a really good song that I like, I send it on to Pierce Media, and if they like it, they put it in rotation.
That's
you
awesome.
know so yeah, there's a lot of people in rotation that I don't even know if they know they're in rotation. So yeah, we do that. We also have the Laurie and Dan's Drive Time that airs Monday and Tuesdays, that goes 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific, but it's also in Canada, so they're 4 to 6, and that's why it's the drive time, because it's going into Ontario, Canada, and it's during the time that they're either going to work or coming to work, depending on what you do for a living.
Mm-hmm.
The most interesting one, though, is the Soapbox Chronicles.
Yeah.
The Soapbox Chronicles. Yeah, it's a political talk show, and
Okay.
it gets a lot of attention, should I say.
All right.
Not all of it's good. Some people despise it. Some people love it. It has thousands of listeners, which I'm very grateful for. And we've had guests on. We try to get people on from both sides of the fence. but we find it very difficult to get people that want to come on when they check into it. And they're like, I just don't know if I want that many people hearing my view.
Mm-hmm.
So, like Sunday, I talked a lot about, I don't know if you heard about it, but there was a report that was released where they went to 10 different bases here in the United States and just inspected the barracks where our men and women are living and fighting for this country and giving their time in service, which I'm huge with. Um, they're living in areas that have broken windows, locks that don't lock, squatters, people that are just walking in off the street and squatting in their barracks.
Wow.
They can't drink the water. They can't wash their dishes in the mess halls because the water's too dirty, and so they're eating off of paper plates and plasticware that gets thrown away. They're showering in brown water. Their plumbing isn't working. In the summertime, they have no air conditioning. In the wintertime, they have no heater. They have reported roaches and bed bugs. And, this was something that we discussed on the soapbox, and I just think we can do better.
Wow.
So didn't mean to bring anybody down, but that was an example of the type of stuff that we try to bring to light, so people, it's not your typical talk show. You don't have to get a dictionary to figure out what we're saying, because you're going to understand it. It's,
If you don't talk about it, you won't know about it. I mean, it's pretty
there. Yep. Yes. If we don't talk about it, people don't know about it, and I just wanted everybody to know that that's what was going on.
There are a lot of up and coming talent and musicians and across the board. Any advice you would give someone who's kind of starting out, maybe just in the industry, who's maybe a newcomer? Any words of wisdom that you can share with somebody?
Ooh, words of wisdom. Well, I think everybody always says, be true to yourself, which it is true. You got to be true to yourself, but don't be afraid to be flexible. Don't put yourself so much in a box that you go, well, I don't do this kind of music, and so I'm only going to do this over here. Because sometimes when I branch off and I do something that is kind of out of my wheelhouse, it turns out to be the best release. So don't be afraid to step out of your wheelhouse and challenge yourself vocally, because you might surprise yourself. And also, don't think that you have to have a label to be successful, because you don't, and I had both. When I first started out, I had, with my very first CD, I had a label, and very quickly I learned they own you. They tell you where you're going, what you're wearing, who you're with, what you're going to sing, where you're going to sing, and I promised them one CD. I gave that to them. And then when they wanted to sign another one, I'm like, you know what? I think I want to do this my way, So, don't be afraid to do it your way, and step out of your wheelhouse every once in a while. You might surprise yourself. That would be my only real advice.
Okay.
Is surprise yourself.
Yeah, website you could share for the folks out there who can follow you and maybe they're on that side of the world and listen to your music and check you out.
Perfect. Yep. I'm on Spotify, of course, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You can also find me at laurielacemusic.com. Up and coming shows right now, I'm going to be in Jefferson, Texas for the Texas Sounds International Country Music Awards. I'm actually a judge, but on Friday night they've asked me to perform, so I'm going to be performing. And then Dan Dennis is also going to do a song too, a great song called "I Miss the USA." So I'm going to be there like almost the whole week. So y'all buy tickets, come on out. There's going to be a show every night, and then the award show is on Sunday. In November 7th, I'm supposed to be at 3rd and Lindsay in Nashville. On the 8th, I'm supposed to be in Chattanooga. And so if you just follow my Facebook page, all of that stuff, as it updates, I put it on there. So, and iTunes, I forgot about that. Good old iTunes.
This podcast is all about encouraging others and meeting people from around the world, hearing their story. I love your music. This podcast can be here on Spotify, Anchor, and also totalmixradio.org. And I'm so glad to be a part of that and sharing music. And so any new music coming out, I'd love to share it on the podcast. And thank you so much for the time. I really enjoyed talking with you and kind of getting to know you.
Well, I appreciate it too, Jody. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm glad you did mention Mix Radio because James Fitcham, he's been great, and I wanted to say hello to him. Hi, James. He's a sweet guy.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. God bless. Let's stay in touch.
Okay, thank you. You have a great night.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This is Bad Thing by Laurie Lace.
They say I drive a little fast. Say I like to push the limit every day. I'm living like it was my last. They say I'm proud of my scars. Each one's got a story, got guts and glory, down to an art. Say I know what it's like to see life flash before my eyes, like it's a bad thing. I don't know about you, but I was put here to live and love. So what if I don't do it like everybody else does? They say I'm out on the edge, I'm too willing to risk every bone, every breath. They say all I am is a crazy dream, like it's a bad thing. So my heart's been low, so I keep on falling in nothing but oh, if I let it go, I'll wear it on my sleeve. They call me a joke, 'cause I still believe like it's a bad thing. I don't know about you, but I was put here to live and love. So what if I don't do it like everybody else does? Say I'm out on the edge, I'm too willing to risk every bone, every breath. They say all I am is a crazy dream, like it's a bad thing. Like it's a bad thing. Like it's a bad thing.
Woo! That was Laurie Lace, Bad Thing.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Are you looking for some fresh, authentic Mexican food? I got two places for you. That's right, two places. Taquiza, located in the Kitsap Mall in Silverdale, Washington. Their number is 360-698-4335. They have some of the best tacos, burritos, taco salads, chimichangas, refried beans, and some of the best tasting grilled jalapenos around. Also, Taquiza Street, a local food truck they have as well in the area. In Silverdale, the number is 360-914-9152. They have some of the best tasting breakfast burritos as well. Both locations have the freshest ingredients. Each bite is bursting with flavorful, authentic flavors. So you might see my friends Roberto and his amazing staff. Or you got a big event coming up, they can fix you up as well. They also cater. Give them a call today, Taquiza, at 360-698-4335 or Taquiza Street, 360-914-9152. Fresh, tasting, locally owned and operated Mexican food. Delicious. Check them out today. I'd like to welcome one of the newest sponsors to the podcast, Mr. Alex Pablo. He specializes in assisting small to medium-sized local family restaurants establishments in enhancing their brand, identify, and cultivate a strong business image. He provides a comprehensive support through the creation and maintenance of professional business website, menu design, printing services, as well as implementing an effective online ordering system. His objective is to empower these businesses to flourish and achieve sustained success and increased online sales in their respective markets. Check out aldentedigitals.com for more information. The next song I'll be playing is featuring the artist. His name is Lucky May, and this song is There Gold. This song is written about his teenage son who passed away at a very young age. This is a love song of hope for his family, and I'm working with him, getting him on the podcast, and sharing this very powerful story. And I hope it resonates to you. I hope it speaks to your heart today. This is There Gold by Lucky Mays.
I feel like I know you, like I've never known you before. All that we've been through, so much more than most endure. Every morning sunrise, when you open your eyes, and the daylight burns away the cold. Is there gold at the end of our rainbow? Are there unlived dreams that hope can take hold of? Can we make another start after letting go? I wanna know, is there gold? I'll always see through a young man's eyes and console you through your darkest nights. Precious moments in our lives, through the years that passed us by. Can we keep the memories living in our souls? Is there gold at the end of our rainbow? Are there unlived dreams that hope can take hold of? Can we make another start after letting go? I wanna know.
That was Lucky Mays, Is There Gold? Are you looking for some mouth-watering, delicious tasting barbecue? I got the perfect place for you. Double D's Barbecue and Smokery. Get the best smoked brisket. Comes highly recommended. Just falls off the bone. Each meat is cooked and smoked perfectly, moist, and seasoned very well. The ribs are amazing, and they have some great sides like bacon, macaroni and cheese, and cream corn with green chilies with a little kick. Banana pudding to top it off. It's a great dessert. Being from the South, I love me some banana pudding. See, Brett and Don are locally veterans here in the area with strong military roots. They have found their home here in the Pacific Northwest, serving some amazing barbecue. Check out their website at Double D's Barbecue and Smokery LLC.com. They also cater events. They can help you for any event you may have planned. They're on Facebook as well under Double D's Barbecue and Smokery. Great tasting barbecue. Double D's Barbecue and Smokery. Delicious barbecue. When I say donuts, what comes to mind? Those donuts sitting on a shelf for a week and a half, small and wrinkly. No. Lone Star Donuts are Texas-style donuts. But you know what? We're in Washington State, and there's 3 locations with nearly 50 flavors. Silverdale, Washington, at 360-204-5021. Port Orchard, Washington, 360-443-2600. And in Poulsbo, Washington, 360-626-1164. And I said, nearly 50 flavors of donuts and kolaches. Ever had one? So you might get one. They're delicious. They're Texas-style donuts, so they're huge, homemade, locally owned and operated business. Great tasty donuts. Get some today. For you, for your friends, your family, for your co-workers. Lone Star Donuts. Great tasty donuts around. And you know what? You can't buy happiness, but you can buy donuts. That's pretty much close to the same thing, right? Lone Star Donuts in Kitsap County. Silverdale, Port Orchard, and Poulsbo. Check them out today.
Hi everyone, it's Robbie Hart, and this is the story behind my new single, I Would Still Pick You. I Would Still Pick You is a dreamy love song that will sweep you away, celebrating that once-in-a-lifetime love that you would choose over and over again. I can't wait to share the song with you so you can stream it, add it to your favorite playlist, and most importantly, share it with the one person you would choose over and over again. For now, sending love and positive vibes to you all. I will talk to you again real soon.
This is Robbie Hart. I Would Still Pick You.
Even if I knew then, well I don't know. I'm wanting to think, cause baby somehow you walked in and swept me off of my feet. You bring out the best in me. I'd be right here at the same place. I've been making the same mistakes. And after all that we've been through, baby I'm still pick you. I'll take it all, baby, I don't care that your boots are dirty, cause your soul is clean. Your rough hands belong in dreams. We didn't know what the future would hold. Even if I knew then, well I don't know. I wouldn't change a thing, cause baby somehow you walked in and swept me off of my feet. You bring out the best in me. I'll be right here at the same place. I've been making the same mistakes. After all that we've been through, baby, I'm still pick you. Soft kiss on my forehead when I've had a hard day. Your arms around me when there's no words to say. Drag my fingers on this guitar. You have your hands wrapped around my heart. Nobody knows how the future when you're the machine. Bring out the best in me. I'll be right here at the same place. I've been making the same mistakes. After all that we've been through, baby, I would still pick you.
That was Robbie Hart. I would still pick you. Hello there. Sitting here by the Hood Canal Bridge in Washington State, and by the Puget Sound. You can hear the water waves crashing the beach. You know, when life gets kind of hectic and crazy and you need a place to slow down, the water is always a great place for me to relax and to just watch the water and hear the waves. It's pretty awesome. It helps when you're going through a crazy work week. Maybe you're facing some challenges or difficulties. Give you a chance to kind of step away and just be calm and be still and listen to God and let God speak to you. Just want to share some encouraging words with you today. Share new ways with my friends here on this podcast. This is Chit and Chat, the encouraging one another podcast. It's always about encouraging others.